What do you think about older women and younger men? How likely are those to last? Because Tata's grandmother her second husband was how many years younger was Klaus?
He was 24 and she was 40 when they met, and they've been together. Well, he passed away recently.
She outlived him
for 50 years. She's 98 now.
I'm telling you, my Aunt Mary was 60 when she met her 30-year-old husband. And all the women in my family look very young for their age, so they all met younger husbands. A lot of them have younger husbands. I dated younger men. I don't see anything wrong with it. I think maybe 10 years is okay. My Aunt Mary was with him for 30 years, and he died before she did.
Yeah.
So she always said, I outlived him, and, but she was a very youthful...
But she outlived him.
She outlived him.
Like my grandmother.
She outlived him. So there's no limit on love. It's just your limit.
Watch out, Jim.
So, yeah.
I'm not putting you on that Repatha medication. He's got a cholesterol problem. We've talked about it a few times.
Yeah.
I'm like, never mind.
My grandmother's a very strong personality, and she loved life and having fun, and she wasn't ready to grow up at 50.
Yeah.
She just wanted to have a good time, And she had been married and had my mom and got divorced, and, she just felt stifled in her first marriage because it was just too, work and no play and duties, and, in that time, that's what you did. Your husband came home, you cooked the meal, you worked. She wanted to go and have fun.
Well, my Aunt Mary never had children. She was one of the ones that warned me never to have children.
That's Aunt Mary, okay.
But when you think about what happened to them, my great-grandmother had 4 kids. They were left and abandoned by their father in 1900. And then my great-grandmother married another man and got pregnant 17 more times.
Oh, God.
So then there was a baby. So they all had to babysit the babies.
Right.
So they swore to themselves that they would never have children. Now, my grandmother was the oldest, had to leave at 17 to escape her hell. And, of course, she got married and had my father. But while she was pregnant, her husband cheated on her.
Yeah.
Now, she was excommunicated from the Catholic Church and lived with her mother-in-law.
Wait, why was she excommunicated?
Because back then that was a sin if you left your husband, even if he was screwing another woman.
Close your eyes.
You close your eyes, and men will do what they do. That's what my grandmother said.
He's a man. What do you expect?
I thought you just get a younger guy,
it's
too.
It's an Italian thing.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Well, not until she was older. But so she had my daddy, and then his godfather, Piane, married my grandmother. So imagine you being she was probably 20 when she had my dad.
Oh, my.
And then she's living with his mother because her son was out screwing. Boom, 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 knock on the door. The pregnant girlfriend shows up. My dad's 6 months old, and she's holding my dad, answers the door. And in Italian, they say the puttana was at the door. The whore. So I said, well, what did you do? She said, I let her in. So she let her come in to have lunch.
Oh, my God.
And then the girl said, where is he? And my grandmother says, I don't want him. You can have him. So she said,
he's with the third girlfriend.
No, he was with the second. No, that was his girlfriend.
And he's with the next one.
So he ran away to Chicago. My dad was real fat apparently because he was breastfeeding. So she gave the girl that was cheating with her husband all my dad's baby clothes in a basket.
Oh, my goodness.
And said, take these clothes and you can have them and good luck. So my dad just died. Now all of my dad's half brothers and sisters, which were 6. So that woman, Joanne Pantalone, had 6 children that all look like us. So I have 6 half aunts and uncles and cousins that all look like me and my brothers and sisters.
But she gave your dad away to the...
She gave the baby clothes of my father to her. So because she had no money, she goes, what am I going to do? He left me. She goes, you can go to Chicago and take these clothes.
Oh, that's it.
And good luck, because they were 6 months baby clothes. Oh. And she said, you can take him and have him. So that woman married him. Now, I never met any of these cousins until my dad just died, and they all came to the funeral.
Oh, wow.
It was unbelievable.
That is like life-altering.
So that's love lineage.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Every person has a lineage, and before you hook up with anybody, like Jewish guys would say to me, "You look so beautiful. What synagogue do you go to?" I said, "I'm Italian. I know I look like a little I'm an eye job, Italian Jewish American princess." So they were like, "Well, my mother won't care." I said, "Well, before I get involved with you, Stephen Weinstein or whatever your name is, let me meet your mother, Sarah, whatever their name were." So they would be like, "Oh, I don't know." I said, "Well, there you go. You're lying."
Right.
Because your mother wants you to marry a Jewish girl, so your children will be Jewish. Right. I do not have Jewish eggs. I'm Italian.
Yeah, but you can convert. I know a lot of Jewish men who...
I know a lot of Italians that converted, Catholics.
I ain't converting.
Yeah, but there's a lot of Jewish guys who are like, if they're successful and whatever, then the women, because I definitely have very successful Jewish clients, much, much, much older than their wives half their age, and they will convert because...
Oh, I didn't convert.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's cool. A lot of them say it doesn't matter if you don't. But I said, well, if I meet your mother, I'll find out. So then I would meet their mother, and they'd say, "What synagogue do you go to? You look like such a nice little Jewish girl." I said, "I'm 100% Italian from the East Coast." And I said, and Stephen told me it wouldn't matter. And then her eyes would go down, and that was the end of the relationship.
And they wouldn't say, "Will you convert?" Because
well, they would say, "Well, hopefully you
they
would
will
like to."
ask. Yeah,
they will ask, and I, you know, I was raised Catholic, even though I'm not really. I'm more of a I work with people all over the world, so I'm non-denominational because I don't. I really believe that there is one power and one force, and even in the Kabbalah and all the religions that I've studied, it really is the same. It's just shame that it has to be that way.
They just want Jewish babies. So if you convert, then they'll feel like the babies are Jewish, even though the blood isn't. I don't get it myself, but I certainly have a lot of Jewish friends and family and ex-boyfriends who wound up marrying non-Jewish women who converted, and it's mostly because the family just wants to know that if the mother converted, then the babies at least they can say are Jewish.
They want continuity because they think they're small. You know, there's not many of them. They're not as big as the Christians and
the Jews want more numbers.
Right, they want numbers. It's a numbers game.
And then the Jewish
we've been all but wiped out.
And the Jewish synagogue hired me to come to bring, because so many of the younger generation were veering out of the whole Jewish synagogue thing. They brought me in to do rapid dating at the synagogue on Wilshire Boulevard.
Oh, the big one.
And I said, "I'm Italian." They said, "You look Jewish, it doesn't matter." So they see Joe, and they're like, "What is she doing with that non-Jewish man?"
Oh, yeah. What's she doing with that goyim?
That's right, he's a goyim. And I said, "Well, the real truth is I'm Italian." So it was like this scandal that happened at the Jewish synagogue. But I did help because a lot of people are going outside of their own religion.
I was just going to say, the younger generations, I find two things. They're not really marrying it's not about religious anymore. They're sort of non-denominational, or they don't care if they intermarry. And I find a lot of the younger ones, they don't get married, but they'll have kids, but they don't want to really get married anymore.
No, the millennials are not marrying until well into their 30s.
If they do.
And the Japanese, Chinese are all having challenges because there's no job. So it's international, like what I do, and it's really fascinating. Yeah. But the women that are over 40 and 50 have hope. But you need to really, I'm going to give you some tips here. You need to flirt with life, and you never know. Like when you walk into a party, you know, most women are like, "Oh, we all do it. We scan, we pick our target." Men do it too. They pick a target and they're like, "I'm going to meet him, or her and her." So you need to be nice as you're in a party, because all the men, if they're attracted to you, they're watching you treat other people either well or being bitchy. So if you're bitchy to a nerdy guy that comes over and goes, "Hi, you're really hot," you know, and you give him one of those scowling looks, then the guy that wants to meet you is thinking, "That girl is not nice, and I am not interested."
Right.
So watch how your energy vibes show up in a room.
Right.
Number one, and also flirting every day, learning how to flirt, which is one of my arts. I have an art of it.
Clearly, I love that.
It's flirting, touching. You know, if you see somebody that you like, even at a coffee shop in the morning, "It was really nice to meet you," and you put your hand out and say, "I'd like to see you again." And then you walk away, and the guy's like, "Wait, let me get your card." So you're giving a green light signal.
What about a woman who is insecure and they're afraid, if they fear rejection?
Well, you're going to get rejected. Dating is a rejection. It's 1 in 10. You know, guys have to make the move. But if a woman makes a move and says something, he might say, "Oh, I'm married, but thank you." At least you tried, right?
Right.
So it's like, as you put out the energy that you're open, it all of a sudden you're going to find out of nowhere you'll meet someone.
So don't fear rejection. Put it out there.
Put it out there. Just be
Go
fun.
for it.
Have fun with life. Like, flirt with life. Don't flirt with an intention of getting a result. Like, if you do it, don't have any expectations.
That's good.
That's what I used to teach the guys.
That's great.
Like, when you talk to women, 1 out of 100, women, maybe 10 out of 100 are going to maybe have interest, and maybe 2 out of the 10 will say yes. So that's a lot of people you got to talk to. Most people don't talk to people every day anymore.
So
everybody's on their phones like this. Everybody's looking. It's like, look up. I used to go when I was single. I went to Coffee Beat on 9th and Wilshire every morning, and there was always handsome men, and I would go, oh, God, you smell good. And they'd be like, my wife really likes this cologne. Next.
Yeah.
But then the other men were thinking, wow, she's really friendly.
Right.
So they'd go like, wow, you told him he smells good. Do I smell good?
Right.
Like, you open the door up by being fun.
I like that.
It's not about saying, hey, you want to come home with me because I feel like having sex with you. It's about flirting with life. I call it my flirting with, and I created it like 25 years ago. Flirting with life techniques. Going into the 7-Eleven and knowing the name of the guy behind the counter. I went to 7th. I lived on 9th and Wilshire in Santa Monica, and every day I'd go to Printland. I'd go to, because I was always printing flyers, because back then there was no internet.
Right.
I marketed my own business. I became my own publicist. And I just used to call people and say, you haven't heard of Renée Piane? She has to be on your radio show. So you're marketing you. So if you're not happy doing it and you're unhappy, then you have an unhealed part of you. So you should, if nothing else, read my book so you can see the phases of love, the vibes you put out, the how your mindset is, and what do people that are close to you think of you. So all of our friends, Susan, when you were single, we were all single together. I was the first to get married. All of my friends, Clark, Herb, we were all uncommittal, half in, half-assed love. We were all getting like people that really weren't aligned. And then I started the train of marriage, and everybody's like, well, how is it? I said, actually, it's pretty good.
Did Clark ever get married? He's cute.
Clark is still not married.
Oh, poor Clark. Clark, get your shit together, dude.
Clark does not want.
You're a cutie.
No, Clark knows himself.
Yeah.
So when he meets women, he'll say, I really am not into kids. I'm not into getting married. So if a woman gets involved with him, it's their fault.
Yeah.
And they always think, I dated him, Susan dated him, Pam dated him, 4 of my girlfriends dated him. When we met, I'm like, how do you know Clark? Oh, I dated him twice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I never dated him.
I did. You didn't date him. Oh, my God, it's a miracle. But he's super charming and super fun.
Is. You can find him on my Facebook page.
Yeah. Clark Jarrett, he loves beautiful Latin. He likes dark hair, blondes. He likes them all. And he knows himself. And he said, I don't know if I really want to get married. I like my freedom. He's a freedom fighter, So if a man has a freedom, when I asked men, what is your biggest fear about getting married? Losing my freedom.
Yeah, Jim felt that way.
Yeah, but you are a freedom person. So
yeah.
You said, don't worry. I want my freedom too. Let's do this together. That's what I did.
Let's be free together.
I just felt like with Jim, he had a couple of fears, because that's what neither of us had baggage, because neither of us had been married. And we were very opposite in a lot of ways, but very similar. What is it that Dr. Wayne Dyer always said? He said, you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are.
That's true.
So I always look at Jim and I'm like, we seem so opposite on the surface, but when we dig deep, and even our family backgrounds are opposite. My family's multiply divorced. His family never was. He comes from like a very conservative Methodist family. I come from a loud, obnoxious Jewish family. And yes, we're so opposite, but there are a lot of things deep down. And one thing was that we both knew that we only wanted to get married once. We made sure that we just waited for a long time, and it worked. But I was really, for whatever reason, I only started dating guys after that point in my life when I got serious. I only dated guys that I felt like I could trust 100%. And I have a really good red flag filter. Like, I can always tell a guy, I'm like, this guy will never cheat. I don't know how I know it.
You have an issue with trust because of your upbringing.
What trust is. Like,
but I can tell. I don't know what it is, but I can feel when...
Trust in love again.
Right.
Most people have trust issues that meet bad boys.
And that's really a lot of women do, especially because they've been hurt and jilted or their childhood.
Yeah. But when you look at it and then you go back to the source of where you heard it, that's what the power of your love lineage is, and that's what my TED Talk is.
Okay.
Because when you look at the power of it, it has power over you.
Yeah, for sure.
Until you go back and say, so I went back to my grandma and said, why did you say that men were lying? So I sat, do you know my friend Scott, right? You've met Scott before. You would know him. Scott Veers. He has been like a brother to me. He was my date that used to come to all the weddings. He was sort of my bisexual friend that used to come back to my weddings. My family was like, you could switch him, even though he likes men. I'm like,
he likes both.
He likes both. I'm like, no. But he was the one that my grandma was 88, and I said, why did you hate men so much? And she said, I'll tell you. And we sat in that kitchen for 8 hours.
Wow.
And he was like, oh, then what happened? We were so curious that it made her open up. And then it was like right after that is when I met Joe.
Oh, wow.
Because she said, and I did have love after all. And I was like, why didn't you tell me that 20 years ago?
Right.
Instead of, don't you trust men. That was all I heard.
Is that what your mom told you?
Yeah, my mom didn't trust men at all.
Right.
And so I just got really, really good at being able to see if a man was ever going to be a cheater. And fortunately, after that point in my life, I don't think I ever, I don't know how I inherited this super filter. I rarely ever got cheated on. Almost never. I mean, just a couple
But you cheated.
I did, because
You cheated.
my mom.
Sorry, busted. Busted.
No, I've admitted it. I've admitted
No,
it.
but she didn't lie. She didn't lie about it.
No.
She told them up front, and they chose to stay with her, even though she said, I'm going out on a date right now. I'll see you later. And they would be like, I was just with her all day. Bye. I was like, how could she do that to that poor guy? But she was honest. So that's what Get Real About Love is, being honest. If you know that you can't be with somebody, then let somebody know. I cannot be with somebody. If you want to take the chance of being here with this, then good luck.
Yeah.
And then the person has an option.
Yeah.
But if you lie and then you do it,
Oh, for sure.
that's what hurts people.
Yeah, that is what hurts people. But my mom taught me that I didn't have very good role models in the dating and love world in my immediate family. In my extended family, yes, but not my immediate family.
So they probably worried about you your whole life. Are you okay? Did they ask you when you went home? Or,
No.
Why aren't you married? What's wrong?
My cousins?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They just wanted to know when I was moving back to the East Coast and going to marry a nice Jewish guy. I'm like, I'm open to to any religion. I don't really care. But my mom always taught me. She goes, you have to cheat on the man before he cheats on you, because they will all cheat on you, and that's what made me cheat.
What a mantra! That sucks.
I didn't know. How did I know any better?
But that's what I'm saying.
Because my dad cheated on his wives, and my grandfather cheated on my grandmother, and so I was like, well, maybe it's true. What do I know? So that's how I went. I got sent out to the world.
So when I met you, I remember we went to this bar it was a Mexican bar on Wilshire on 11th Street. And you were there and you were like, I'm leaving because I just left John. I don't know who it was, but now I'm going to go see Steve. And I remember thinking, oh my God, she must have been so hurt when she heard things that were bad.
I heard things. Yeah, I wasn't terribly hurt too many times.
No, but you were doing the hurting. Like if you look at the men.
It was. I was taught that would protect me.
Right.
And then because my mom said, when you find out that they cheated on you, because they will, then you can be like, oh well, I already screwed so and so.
Wow.
I didn't know. How do I know? My mom's telling me me this.
This is like a wake up for you.
That's what took me so long.
Right.
Yeah,
It took you so long.
I wanted to be really sure.
I did sort of the same thing.
And I was honest. I mean, if anyone ever said, "Did you ever cheat?" I'd be like, "Yeah," and I regret it, and I know what I did was wrong, and
Wow.
I didn't know at the
now,
time.
that wouldn't be an option for you.
Yeah, but I could. But the thing is, if you do something, you can see it in other people. So I was able to weed out guys. I'm like, oh, that guy will cheat. Oh, that guy will cheat. And I've only been with men, in those last, years since I got serious, that would never cheat. I don't know how I could tell.
It's a
but
radar.
I could tell.
All women,
I had a radar.
Every woman, if you are honest and you write in your journal, I went back, like I'm cleaning out my garage, so I found I have 29 years of my journal.
Holy crap.
Wow.
Every one of them says, I know exactly what I'm doing and I don't care. He's just like all the rest of them. And then I'd say, but I don't care. It's better than nothing. So I would take better than nothing because I thought it was about me not feeling valuable.
I was just gonna say.
So it when you get hurt, it affects your value, like the value that you feel. So any woman that's out there, if you've been hurt, you need to heal the pain from whatever imprint that you got, and that's what the book is about. So you can get it on Amazon, Audible, Kindle, like today. And I swear to God, people write to me all over the world. They're like, I wish I had read this before, because it's an imprint in you that made you do what I call a love loop, where you kept doing the same thing over and over and over until something changed.
What's one tip women can do to heal themselves, or men, if they've
Do an evaluation. To be real with your heart, get honest with yourself, because you keep thinking it's men that are assholes or whatever. It isn't them. It's a part of you. It's not all of you. So I had one part. I would say probably 50% of me was little Renee, and then you have your Wonder Woman. So I had Wonder Woman Renee and little Renee, like you did little Jill. It was like, oh, I'm going to go get my fix to feel better, to heal the little girl. And then there was your other party going, what am I doing? And you knew what you were doing. So if you don't go, what happens is they split. If you're watching this, you're split between a vision. So when you're split between a vision, you never get the vision. So once you and her said, no, you said no more of this, we're going this way, then it happened. So only then. So little Renee had total control. She was 70% of me until I went back to school 20 years ago and figured this out. So now I took the knowledge that I learned about how the mind stores memories, and I changed the way it was. I changed the whole subconscious and unconscious with hypnotherapy in myself. And then I said, I'm only going to go for this. And then it happened. And it keeps happening with business, with love, with friends. I don't have anybody in my life that treats me like shit. I don't want anybody that drains me. I have no drama in my life anymore.
I like that too. I try to eliminate toxic people, because it's just too heavy weighing on you. It just brings you right down, and it doesn't bring you good energy. You got to clean that out like you're cleaning a dirty closet.
But it isn't easy.
You got to Marie Kondo your life.
Well, sometimes you got to do things that are harsh.
Does this bring me joy?
Spark joy, spark
Or you
joy.
got to learn you have to learn how to filter it so that you can't be affected by it if you have to deal with it at a job or something,
Well, if you look at Jill's job, I mean, she's dealing with people with body issues that come to her with fat stomachs, fat butts, and they're like, oh my God, help me. And the way that she does it is empowering. It's the same thing with me with their heart. It's like, I'm not here to beat you up for the shit you did. I did the same thing. Here's the book that proves it, okay? Mario, all the men that lied to me, the family lineage. But if you can trust yourself, it's all about you building a relationship with yourself.
Right.
And saying, okay, I'm going to get real with my heart. I'm going to be honest and change things out this year. Make a commitment like you do. Make a commitment to work out 3 days a week, eat certain things. It's the same thing. You're eating the thoughts. You're absorbing the energy. But what happens is most women that are in their 40s and 50s, they got shit in their camp, and they're whining and complaining. So if you have those people that keep bringing you down, then when you go out and you change, you almost don't want to be around them anymore.
Right.
And there's a lot of people there's a lot of people with fear too. So they put up a lot of blockades.
Right.
And I think that might have even been the case with Jim, because he was skeptical about getting into a relationship. He got very serious about it, and which is how we met on those 2 sites. But because I trusted him from day one, I was like, oh, this guy will never cheat on me. I let him do whatever he wants. He comes back and tells me like, oh, this woman hit on me. She gave me her number, and I'm like, well, invite her over for dinner. I don't care.
Oh my goodness.
He's like, that's why I love you. I have no jealousy because I can trust a person. My mom was always jealous because she never trusted anyone. Right. But I only surround myself with people that I can, and people that I date that I can trust 100%. And then they can do whatever they want because I trust them.
But the thing that you did that was super smart, and it's the same thing with my husband. Most women want to lock down a guy right in the beginning, and they put pressure, and that's what men don't like. Men fear their freedom being taken. Yeah. If you give them that option and say, listen, we'll try this out. I said to Joe, I'll try this out for 3 months, and then I have the option to walk away. And he was like, what? And I said, I don't like anybody telling me what to do. Do you?
I did that too. I dated a guy, I think you met him, John. Yeah. And I said, we'll do this 3 months at a time. We'll renew the contract.
I told you that.
You did?
I'm the one that told you that at dinner. I said, give him a 3-month contract.
Maybe that was...
It was me that told you that.
Yeah, we did every 3 months. We would renew.
And then, well, that's what I told you at dinner one night. I'll never forget it.
I don't know where I came up with it. Then
it was me.
All right.
That's my thing. Okay. Nobody else is doing it. Now everybody's copying, and I don't give a shit. But... the truth is, I said, I'll give you 3 months of my time, and then we'll either renew this time together or we won't. And then he was like, what? And I said, listen, you got 3.5 women. Go do what you got to do, but I'm not interested. So then he came back, and I said, and he goes, let's date. And I said, I'll give you 3 months. You're in the middle of a bunch of shit. I don't know if I want to deal with it. So let me show you my life. I'll see your, I want to go home. So I flew back. He flew me back, and my dad invited 50 of my Italian relatives over. And I'm like, Daddy, if you invite everybody, I'm going to kill you because you're going to scare them away. And he goes, well, if he's scared now, then he's not your guy, right? So he comes here, meets all my friends. I bring him on NBC, CNN. I had all these TV shows at the time, and I'm like, "Can you deal with it?" He's like, "I love it." Did a rapid dating. I did some kind of a rapid dating for what was it called? Cougars.
Oh yeah.
And then I brought him to a MTV pajama party, and I'm like, if you can deal with all this, then I'm your girl, Then I dress up as an angel and work with handicapped children. Anyway, he was like, I said, this is my life. And I sang in a choir, so I went from church to wearing lingerie at a lingerie party. So I said, I'm not a normal woman, and this is it. And so then he flew back with me, and then he met all my aunts, and they were like, are you divorced? Are you me? They were interrogating him. I said, they're going to interrogate you. And he dealt with it. Yeah. And he goes, oh, this is a piece of cake.
And then you knew you were right for each other. Yeah. Well, it was a little harder for you, Tata, with family, because your families are so opposite.
I never really pursued relationships. I was always being pursued. And what I mean by that is because I kind of I'm an loner, so I'm not afraid to be alone. That's my biggest thing. And she looks like
that, so
a lot of women, of women, a lot of my friends. I'd be after
it if I was a guy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that came out loud. But a lot of
poor thing.
A lot of women I know were very desperate and afraid to be alone. That was their number one reason for getting married. They just found a guy, latched on, like you said, and they wanted, and then they wonder why their relationship doesn't work out. And I just didn't. I don't know. In me, it was an innate feeling like you got to love yourself first. And I had a lot of insecurities to get over in myself. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to build myself up a little bit first. And when I started to model when I was younger, talk about walking into an insecure world where they are looking at every flaw you could possibly have. Yeah. That 1 pound of weight, and you have to be not shy and get undressed in front of people, which is not my thing at all. I'm very shy. I'm very reserved. So I was like, I'm out of here. Ain't working. So you have to be comfortable with yourself. And I found that when I put trust into a man and I got hurt, it gave me such an insecurity. I didn't like seeing that. So I kind of shielded myself to learn exactly what you're saying, to learn about yourself, find what you love about yourself and work on it. If I don't like the way I feel about myself, do something. What am I going to sit here and cry in my room about?
That's right.
Get up. Do something about it. You only have the power. If I can't afford to get a trainer, I can definitely get out and walk. I can do things, and I have to look at other things. I have to look outside of myself. I got to look at people that aren't as lucky as I am and maybe do something for them. Because you know what? If you give of yourself a little bit, good things will come back to you. Even you don't have to go in with the intention of that, but that you have a purpose. A lot of people don't have purpose. Their purpose is
people in
let's
LA,
get married, let's have kids. That's my purpose. That is not your purpose.
No.
Your children will leave, and then you'll be left with nothing.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot.
Right.
Like, yeah, your purpose can't just be family.
My husband, I don't want to trap him. I don't want to own him. I mean, if I'm not happy or he's not happy, then we have to have a discussion and see if this is going to go anywhere.
That's why it's good to have heart-to-heart talks with your husband.
And we do.
And I always, there's so many couples that I've helped to get married, and I always give them a heart. And I'm like, use this heart when you get disconnected to put the heart down and say, you want a heart on? We need to have a heart-to-heart talk,
exactly.
right? Because you get disconnected sometimes. And it happened during the deaths that we just...
Well, that's hard.
And so...
Those are outside factors.
But I'm saying, as you get married, you're going to go through life challenges and deaths and health. And you have to really be cognizant of, are you really taking care of each other? So what you were saying, giving back, it's really important. But in LA or big cities that people are single in, anybody that's listening to this, you got to get involved in a community of somewhere.
Yeah.
And whether it's a church or an organization that gives back or whatever. And that's what I'm involved in all the time.
Nice, yeah.
My holiday magic party every year that I have for kids. And, I didn't even want to do it this year because I had just gotten back from all these deaths. And I'm like, I got to help these kids that have no toys.
But that's even part of your recovery.
It is.
Because when I lost my mom, and, I had to stay with my father for a month to get through everything. And I'm an only child. We don't have any other family. And he's in Montreal. I'm here. And he's alone. I'm feeling very guilty coming back. And, it was work for me, and doing things and socializing was a great healer for me. And all I worried about was him. So I encouraged him to go. I said, you got to start dating. You got to get out there. It doesn't mean you have to be serious about anybody, but you deserve a life. You're a good man.
Yeah. Did he find anyone?
Yeah, he did.
Very quickly and much younger.
He's a hot man, so he wasn't.
Tell you, men always find them faster than women.
He was like, they were all, even, what really killed me was all the friends that they had. All the women that were single, like, and their friends that, were divorced and all that, they all start to come over and bring him meals, and he's like, I don't want to be with these women, I want to disconnect from that circle. I want something new if I'm going to do something.
Oh, yeah.
Very brave.
He's brave. He's a strong man, and, he was on his own to deal with that.
Wow.
So, I feel that sometimes we look so much at ourselves and what's wrong and why me, and why don't you just go look at something else and get involved in something else?
Right.
And then all your weight is not going to be so heavy.
And giving is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
If you want a giving man, go give back. That's how, there's Joe. It was funny because the first Christmas, my dad had a heart attack. My mom had just died. He almost died. Joe took care of my father for 10 days, carrying him into the shower. And then we fed the homeless on Christmas Eve in the rain for Salvation Army. He was running the Salvation Army feeding program while I was doing the Angel of LA projects, giving toys to kids. And I saw him, and I was watching him lead the teams of people to deliver food in the rain. And I thought, and he was like, okay, Bob, you're going here and you're going here, giving out maps. And we were working together. And it was only 6 months after we met. And I was scared because he lived in Delaware. I'm like, oh, how's this going to happen? He's here all
Long
involved.
distance, yeah.
So he got involved in the Salvation Army out here,
Yeah.
So he was a leader. I was a leader.
Yeah.
Your dad knew what he wanted, and he went and found love. My Aunt Carmela, 63, her husband died, and he asked me to help her get remarried. I'm like, how am I going to do that from 3,000 miles away?
Exactly.
There's no age limit on love. She was 63 when she met my Uncle Frank. He was
great.
he knew her from when she was 18, and he met her at an Italian-American club dinner. I said, you need to start going out.
Exactly.
The first time she went out, she met her next husband.
Oh, wow.
Well, and I think that, that's exactly the thing, is that when people go into relationships, they make it all about themselves. Mm-hmm. And communication, if you don't have a good communication, if you can't be honest with each other about, what you're feeling, what your insecurities are, then you're not going to have a great relationship. Because what's the point of being and living and sharing your life with somebody that you can't there has to be honesty somewhere.
Hold on, Ice Queen. You mean you let the cat out of the bag and told Ben all of your insecurities and stuff?
We had a heart-to-heart talk. I let him know my
once?
insecurities.
You did?
Oh yeah, we sit down and we talk, and he may not like it. I'm not going to be brutally rough about it, but I'll tell him things that disturb me or that I can't. Sometimes I'm mad at myself. I'm like, why can't I deal with this issue? If it's a family issue or if it's a job issue, like, why am I so weak? I hate myself about it, and then I don't want to tell him because I'm embarrassed. And then he might think, well, how could you say that about that person? That's so not nice of you. And I'm like, no, it came out wrong. So you have to be able to.
It's because there's something that you had happen when you were young, and it triggers you. So you could say, it's my little girl.
It's my little girl.
So when Joe does that, she's like, I can't believe you feel this way. I said, well, little Renee is here. It's not me. It's little Renee. So can you just hug me, not try and fix it, and just say, everything's going to be okay. That's what I tell him. I said, I don't want you to try and like get me to help you understand why I feel this way. I just feel this way.
And it's so true, because I came to a conclusion with Ben when we had a discussion. This wasn't so long ago. And I said, why do I feel this feeling? It's almost like an envy and an anger about a situation. I said, I don't understand. Then I said, oh, you know what? I understand why I don't feel like I belong in this thing. It's because in my childhood, my father converted to Protestant. He was Catholic. He was an altar boy, and then he denounced the religion completely.
Don't blame him.
And then my mom was raised by nuns, in school with nuns, and they decided not to bring me up Catholic. They baptized me Protestant, but they never took me to church. I was never confirmed. They wanted me to have my own choice.
Wow.
So it was good and it was bad. I was an only child. And I didn't fit into anything. All my friends were going to church or to synagogue or whatever. They all had a community. I was left out. I always felt,
interesting.
In a way, it was a rejection to me. I didn't belong anywhere. And I know my parents meant well. They didn't want me to be brainwashed with anything, to have my own choices in life and feel what suited me. But in the other hand, and that's why I felt like, geez, man, you have this big family, and, I didn't fit into anything. So it was,
and they belong to a very big Jewish community in Toronto. I mean, in Quebec.
Yeah. So, it was just that I had adjustments to make on myself, and I realized that's where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Because, my cousins all got communions and all that.
So, like, when you do, it's called like a timeline. You go up and you go back, and you look down on where you got it from. Right. And it's so fascinating how the memories just come up. Like, so you say, where did this first originate? And you start to look, and then you go, shh, and then you go, wow, I was 7. And when I ask people, I said, how old are you right now? And they go, God, I was like, you could probably visualize the first time your mother ever said whatever she said to you. I remember exactly what happened. And so my family's like, you remember that? I'm like, yeah. It was such a deep imprint in you that it became sort of a running theme for your life.
And I didn't think it was an imprint. I wasn't aware of it. And then it suddenly dawned on me. And he's like, I'm not antisocial. It's not that. I'm almost feeling like I don't know where I belong sometimes, because I wasn't brought up to have that belief and belong into that group,
The good news is now you can design however you want it to be. Right. And that's what Love Designer is okay, who were you? What do you want now? And how are you going to design it?
Totally.
So let's come up like you do with an athletic plan for their body.
Right.
I create the love plan. Let's create your love action plan.
Right.
So you do A, B, C, D, E based on what you tell me, and then I can help you. And it doesn't take long. People are like, well, how long is this going to take? I said, well, if you've been screwed up for 30 years in your love life, maybe 10 hours isn't really going to be, it's like do 10 hours of
same thing. If you've been like eating like shit for the last 20 years, I can't get you in shape in 10 days.
That's right. It takes time, but everything that you have that you feel as an adult, whether it's an anxiety or an insecurity, it does stem to something in your childhood. You just have to channel in and find where that comes from. And it could be just something that happened at school or a family thing. It could be so small and overlooked. And it's actually a big thing that's so deep.
But it's like a monster in your head going, wah, 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 and you don't even realize it. And then you're like, wow, this has affected my career. This has affected everything. And it's interesting because I'm doing this TED Talk, and it's bringing up all my stuff. Because I was told that I shouldn't be a writer, that my English is terrible. So in my mind, when I'm writing, and Joe will go, well, you spelled the blah 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 and then he triggers that part of me, and I'm like, I don't think you're the right person to help me.
Yeah.
Because he
Good for
makes
you.
me feel like a nun did when I was in school. So whenever I go back there, and the interesting thing is the place that I'm speaking is where I was educated. So I'm going to say, if the nuns could see me friggin' now, you know. So it's about breaking the pattern. It's about you being in charge of your love life. It's about you getting real with yourself and healing whatever part of you. And I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're married or single. Single people think, oh, the people that are married are over it. That's not true.
No.
We get triggered in our relationships every single day. And then you have to stop, put your hand on your heart and go, well, when Jim says this, does that really mean this? Why am I feeling this way? Where did it originate? And then you go back to that feeling and then just laugh.
But you know,
you laugh about it and go,
right.
God, I'm so that's so stupid.
But why
you know?
why are we so demanding? Like, we expect our partners to be perfect.
They're
We're not
not.
even perfect.
No.
So why even put? So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, I don't want to. Nobody has to be with me. It's a choice you make.
Yeah.
You want to be happy, and if you're not happy, you either work on fixing the problem or it doesn't work. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
You can't
You have to
force
want to
things.
fix the problem.
You have to want to fix the problem. If you want to lose weight, you're going to have to take diet, or you're going to have to work out. I mean,
You're
there's
gonna
no
have to
other way.
shut your mouth, yeah.
You have to do what you have to do.
It's the same thing when people
Right.
come to me. I go, well, you must be committed because you're paying me to see me. So
Right.
good for you. So how much of you believes in love? And they look down and they're like, 70% no. And I said, well, then we got to do some work, because what do you want? And then they tell me what they want. Like, I want a better body. Yeah, well, it's going to take 10 weeks. It's going to take maybe 5 months for you to lose 50 pounds.
Yeah.
Oh, more than that.
Or whatever it
50
is.
pounds,
Yeah, I don't know, whatever it is. But I'm just saying, it's up to the person to make a decision to commit to something that you feel from whether hearing something or feeling something. So I always say to people, you know, I don't care if you ever work with me or not, but when people are serious, they come to me.
Right.
You know, because I've
Yeah.
changed. You know, like I just got a letter. This girl said, I heard you on a radio show and I bought your book, and holy shit, I had to face my shit. And I said, well, good for you. She goes, and I met somebody right after that. And it's just, I get that every single day. It's like you when somebody says, you know, thank you for helping me with my rear end. I never thought it would look this good. I need to come and see you for my rear end. So you know, this is deep work. Your show is empowering women. And men, frankly, you know, it's very
I
important.
also don't believe that everything has to be fixed. Some things
No.
are important, and other things you got to let go. You just got to say, hey, you know, like
And
Ben
you have
will
to
tell
love
me,
yourself the way
Ben
you
will
are.
tell me, okay, so you get nervous when you go to a party. Oh, well, we'll have a glass of wine before, and then
Yeah.
you feel better. Like, there's it doesn't have to be, everything doesn't have to be perfect.
You
and
can't
remedy.
change everything.
No.
Yeah.
And if you can both
Gotta
accept that about
pick and
each other, because, you know, he has his flaws and I have mine, and we got to learn to embrace them. That's it.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Right.
you know, don't spend your time with each other. You're wasting each other's time if you don't want to work at things. You'll work at other things in your life. You have to work equally as hard at your relationship.
Well, I've learned a lot from Renee as long as I've known her for. And flirting is a big thing. I think women need to get out there and flirt a little bit.
What about people that still flirt after they're married?
Well, I mean, there's a level of openness, and then because my husband and I are both considered open people, but we're not swingers just because we're friendly. I
we
mean,
had a podcast about that.
right? You know, oh yeah, I did too. I mean, you know, I've been to a swinger party, people trying to get me to swing and us to swing, and I was like, I'm kind of curious, but I would never do it. But the point is that it's honesty. But my husband is a friendly person, and after maybe 20 years of being restricted from being allowed to hug a beautiful woman like you, like we at Halloween when he was in his gladiator costume.
Oh my God, and I was wearing almost nothing.
And she had on like this delicious outfit.
I did.
And he was
I was a
just
vampire.
like, he
Sexy
was like,
vampire.
you know, and she was kissing his legs, and I was thinking to myself,
I did not.
yeah, I have pictures of it, darling.
Okay.
You were a little.
But he was Spartacus.
No, she was like looking up at him, and I was like, you know what? It's just a moment in time, and you know what? I would want to do it to him too. Like I didn't get jealous, and he's like, I'm so happy that you're not jealous. But sometimes I get jealous. I mean, it depends, because sometimes women, you know, when they see him at my events, they don't know if he's single. So I watch him. It is hysterical because women come over and they got the little titty thing going on, and they're like, hi, and they're pushing their boobs together, and they like bend over in front of him, and I'm watching him from across the room.
Really?
And they'll be like, And then I can tell that they're like totally like into him. And then he'll go, and then he points over at me, and you can see their face just drop, like, oh, he's married, you know.
Right.
So he always is really honorable to me, but we tease about it because there's times when there's been little vixens that come on to him and everything, and I
What
just
about
go,
you?
well, oh, it happens to me too. And
I tell Jim,
and it's fun.
I'm happy for him. I tell him all the time. I'm like, that's awesome. I mean, I think it's great for their ego.
It is. It is.
It doesn't bother me at all. I love.
Doesn't bother me.
Yeah, not at all. I love
If
women.
the woman doesn't take it to the edge. Like there's some women, there's a couple women in his past that have gone overboard, and then I walk over and I'm like, listen, girl.
What's overboard?
Well, pushing themselves up against him, or trying to get, they like they're grabbing him, and because he's so handsome that they try to grab him, and I'm like, listen, I said, I know he's handsome, but it's there's other single men here. He's my husband, and they're like, oh, okay. And they act like they don't know when he's got this huge ring on, So I'm very cool about it, but there's been a few little vixens that see women like really sexy women that are insecure. Sometimes they like to see if they can get him to stray.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to watch.
Because it's a game for them. They want to play that game.
I come over and I'll say, honey, come with me. And I just grab him, and the woman's like, shh, catty. And that's when I know. And sometimes, I see them, even at events where I'm speaking or whatever, I'll be watching him from across the room. And it happens to me too. He'll go, who was that guy, talking to you? And I said, he was pretty hot. And he goes, he was definitely interested in you. And I said, well, let's go take that home.
I think the flirting thing is awesome.
Well, there's an edge to it.
Ben really gets turned off on overly aggressive women.
Yeah.
He doesn't like it.
Yeah.
He feels uncomfortable with it.
Oh yeah, Ben. When you were unavailable that one time, Ben took me as his date to go somewhere.
Yeah.
But Joe isn't really. He likes to be with me. He doesn't like when I'm like I did this big expo and I was speaking, and then I had rapid dating, and I had all these events, and he was being hit up on. I was watching him from across the room. It was a riot, and I said, "Wow, you had like 10 women hitting on you." I said, "How does your ego feel?" And he goes, "I don't know. I can tell. I can just tell. I'm very, very comfortable with it."
But how do you feel, Tata?
Well, about
when women hit on Ben?
I don't know. I never even pay attention to that.
I don't either.
I actually don't notice it. I don't know. I mean, I've never really paid attention. I mean, when we were in runway weeks at Fashion World and we were doing fashion shows and all that, and we had to schmooze and have parties and all that, women and men alike were hitting on everybody. So it was kind of like you were just, trying to get through that night and say whatever, No,
I feel very secure about, but when a woman takes it over the edge, I go over and say, hey,
I just tell Ben, hey,
that's enough.
I just tell Ben if that's what
enough.
you want.
That's all.
You can be free and have it.
Yeah.
I just, don't stay married to me. That's the option.
That's
you
what
can
I always
have
tell them.
whatever
If you want to trade me in for a younger woman, I'll trade your ass in for 2 30-year-olds.
I'm not, I'm not going to force
trade him in.
anybody to be with me. So if he's interested and that's what he wants to do, then
give me the house and just leave. Bye.
Yeah, I mean, be fair.
But we want to be positive about this.
Right.
We're all happily related. We're married. I'm married. You're almost married.
Yeah, when are you getting married, Jill?
Oh God, there's that pressure. The more people ask me when I'm getting married, the less likely we are to get
You're
married.
lucky you're not getting married in your 30s, because after you get married, then they're like, when are you having a baby? And it never ends.
Yeah,
it just goes from one thing to the next. They can't ask you that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, my dream is to adopt, and Jim and I would like to foster kids.
Wow.
When we move to a house, we need an extra bedroom.
Yeah.
Because they can't sleep in our room. We already got the dogs.
You got the dogs,
But on that note, I mean, I think we've learned a lot. Renee, tell everybody how they can find you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you can find me at Renee, ReneePiane, or Get Real About Love. I mean, you can look me up everywhere. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, under my name. And my book is available on Amazon in all forms. I would highly advise anybody that's really serious about looking for love to call me for a 90-minute session. That's it. So that will get you pole vaulted on your way, like to give you a step-by-step action plan and the book. Mm-hmm. And meet me, whether it's Skype or anywhere in the world. People call me from all over the world.
Wow.
And sometimes people work with me long term, where I help them with their foot. People fly in and I redress them and I look at where they live, and I do all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah, you do makeovers for people. Like
I do.
You get them back into, is that just to get them back into the game?
Yeah, get them back in the game. It's like,
help
you know,
their self-image?
like getting them date ready. Because a lot of guys, they really don't have great clothes, and women always go, oh, he looks like a schlub. There was a guy that flew in recently, so I think you might have been there. It was somebody's birthday, and this guy flew in for the day, and he was going to a wedding, and he had all these women he was meeting, and he had lost weight, and his body was amazing. So I said, well, wear boxer shorts, because I'm going to take you out and I'm going to buy you a whole new wardrobe in one day. Like, that's it. I'm going to so you better be ready to shop, eat. I brought energy bars and water. And I took him out. I bought him new spring clothes, suit, all new jeans, probably about $3,000 worth of clothes, shoes, boots, underwear, everything.
That guy's ready.
And he was ready, right? So we bought him a new suitcase, filled it, and his clothes got stolen on the airport.
Oh.
So I bought him a whole new wardrobe. So I had to go back out and rebuy everything, and he got his money back. But as soon as he started wearing the different clothes, he had a completely different response.
Absolutely.
And he felt, and I took pictures of him the whole day. So I sent him all the pictures. He used them on his profile. I changed his profile. It took like a couple of days. I worked with him for about 10 hours. New photos, new clothes, new attitude. And then I looked at what he was marketing and branding, and I got rid of all these cheesy pictures that he had, put new pictures up, and instantly he met someone. He is so happy, and he said, I've never gotten more compliments ever, and that's happened with hundreds.
Is he able to maintain that, though, going forward? Like, does he have a
he
flair
learned
for
a
that?
lot from me shopping.
That's great.
I got him like dark jeans, light jeans. I got him all different boots and shoes for different seasons.
Right.
And then everything matches. So he can't lose because
Right.
everything mixes and matches. Like the short
great.
sleeve shirts with this, that. And he's like, everything. He goes, I feel like I'm like the super bachelor now. And like, so when he goes on dates, women are like, wow, like the shirts are gorgeous. I bought him really nice shirts, and he has the body to go with it. But even men that are a little fluffy, I call it, they're not fat. They just have the little bellies, help them look thinner.
Right.
And they come to me with, I said, bring your favorite dating clothes. And then they show them to me in their suitcase. I meet them at the hotel, and I'm like, well, it's time for some work. I said, you're going to have to trust me, And then I bring cute girls to take their pictures, and they get pampered all day.
Oh, nice.
And women too. Women are really weird. They are like, I won't wear this and I won't wear that. So there was a woman whose brother was a multimillionaire, and I helped him meet his wife. And his sister was overweight, and she had a curvy, like a pear-shaped body, and her clothes looked like a grandma, and she was only in her 30s. And I said, and her brother gave me $4,000, and I took her out to Bloomingdale's, and I bought her a whole new wardrobe of sundresses that were A-line and beautiful shoes. And there was this one dress. It's a Marilyn Monroe dress. It was red. And I said, I want you to try this dress on. She's like, there's no way I will ever wear that because I have fat coming out of the back. And I said, it's going to cover the back fat. It'll cover your hips. And then you have beautiful legs. So I was, like really inspiring her to take her best assets and show. She had beautiful boobs, got her new bras, she had granny panties.
Oh my goodness.
30 as well.
She just wasn't happening. So anyway, I said and this is what I said, I hypnotized her. I was like, this dress is going to be your lucky dress. You're going to get lucky in this dress. So a month later, she went to this big wedding. And it was her brother's friends, whatever. She wore the red dress. And she had these black sexy shoes and a black purse and all the earrings. I got her the whole outfit for all, and I mixed and matched everything. Took about 2 days. So she wore the red dress, and this man walked up to her and goes, there's no way that I could not come over to find out who the woman is in the red dress.
Wow.
That became her husband.
No. Oh, that's nice.
She called, I have goosebumps. And she called me, and she called me the following week. She goes, Renee, she goes, all the clothes that I've bought all made me feel so beautiful. Because she was wearing like her mother took her shopping to like Chico's, and she was wearing like stretchy, Sorry. Well, Chico's actually has some nice things now.
For some people.
No, but I'm saying for some full-figured women, they have basics. But she was young,
Too young.
She's
for that.
married and has 2 kids now. Wow. thanks me all the time. So it's about women taking risks, no matter what age you are.
Yeah.
You know, you have to wear things that are form-fitting, even if you have hips. Some men love women with hips. Some men love boobs. It depends on what they like. But women are like, oh, I'm not going to show this. I'm not going to. I said, well, show something, because men are visual, and you need. But some of the clothes over the last few years don't really have all the necklines are high, and so you have to really choose a dating wardrobe so that tomorrow, if you get a date, you be like, have 5 outfits, daytime, nighttime, boom, you know what you're going to wear. So I love to go to people's houses and look through their closets, and sometimes I can just pick out all the best things that they already have. They're like, oh, I wouldn't want to wear that because it's a little sexy. I said, well, show something.
Yeah. I mean,
you know, whether it's your arms, it could be your arms or your legs.
You're not going to a convent. You're going to
but we're not going to Afghanistan.
No. Have some fun, like, look sassy.
Well, you can.
And there was one woman, this is a great story. There was a woman, 56. I was speaking at this big women's empowerment thing, and she's like, oh, you're the love guru, I'm done with men. And I said, oh, you're my favorite type of person. I said, why don't you just take one of my classes? So she signed up for this thing, and I said, are you home? Like, every week I would talk on the phone, are you home in your sweatpants all day working on your marketing or not? And she goes, how did you know? And I said, well, why don't you need to break your patterns and go in the middle of the day out, every day. And this is advice for your women. 3 days out of the week, go do something that if you're in a pattern, break it up and wear something cute, like you're going to meet somebody that day, every day. And I get dressed in the morning, whether I have clients or not, as if I'm going to be busy that day. And like this morning, I got dressed up like this at 7:30 in the morning.
I put clothes on for you. I usually wear workout clothes on the show.
Well, you did.
I actually wore clothes for you.
Oh, thank you. But this particular woman, 2 weeks into my class, she was the one that was the negative one, the naysayer. She went to help a paraplegic woman move into an apartment from her building to another building. And she heard my voice, put some lipstick on if you're walking your dog, little blush, little liner, just in case you run into a cute guy and you don't want to look ugly. So she put on this pink, I guess, Juicy Couture, like zippy workout outfit to move this woman, lipstick and a little blush, and she combed her hair. So she goes to the apartment where the woman was living, knocks on the door, and this handsome man answers the door. And she's like, holy shit, thank God I put lipstick on. It was at 7:30 in the morning. And the woman that she was helping, he thought that was her mother. So he said, is your daughter single? And she said, no, but she's my neighbor. And she told her that she was helping her because she didn't have any children. She goes, she's the nicest woman, but she's always by herself. You should ask her out. So he got the courage to ask her out, and now they're married. So it was 2 weeks later, just from a little shift in the way that she was thinking.
Right, because if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Yep.
Well, I've seen this a lot with men. Like, we've done this a lot. We're in the fashion industry, but you take a man and you dress him really nice. You get him a great haircut.
Yep.
Oh my God, changes everything.
Yeah.
I have so many stories.
Because a lot of
like
guys,
that.
they'll wear the same flannel shirt, for years.
Especially engineers and Shire guys and divorced men. Their wives dressed them for 20 years. And then they go, I don't know why I didn't get it. This one guy came, no dates for like 3 rapid datings in a row. And I said, and the women were complaining, and I drank 3 martinis. And he comes up and he goes, what's wrong? I just don't think I'm hitting my game. And I said, do you want me to be honest? Or because I drank 3 martinis.
Right.
And I said, those shoes have got to go. The flood pants are not working for you. Where did you get that suit? He goes, well, it was from the 1970s. I said, let me take you shopping.
Oh, my God.
And cut your hair. He had the comb over with the thick glasses. And I said, let me see your Let me see your eyes, Ken. I said, time to get you some new. So I got him new glasses. He grew a goatee. He shaved his head.
He must have been completely different.
And I changed the next time he came, he was walking like John Travolta. He walked in like da-da-da-da, and he got 8 dates, and he had never gotten any, and one of them was his wife.
Oh, see?
You're the miracle worker.
I am.
Well, I would say we should do our weekly bitch fest.
Go ahead.
There's not really anything to bitch about with all of your positivity.
Right.
You got to stay positive, women. You got to take action. You got to get help if you're cranky in your mind, and you need to get rid of the passengers remaining in your mind that make you doubt yourself.
And
it could be from 20 years ago.
Right.
And you have to flirt and wear lipstick. Flirt and wear lipstick.
Even to the gym.
No granny underwear. That's just not going to get you.
When women, so anyway, the first thing I do with women that take my flirting classes, I'm like, before we start, I want to see your underwear. And they're like, what? And they're like, and I'm like, I need you to pull down your pants. I want to see. This is going to show me how you're really feeling right now.
You really are. It's in the underwear.
And they're like, no way. And then other women are like, they pull down their pants and show me their underwear. So I'm kind of out there, but if you really want results, I'm definitely the person to call.
And sometimes, you do get into a box, especially if you're single and you're feeling alone and you need help. You need someone like you to show them the light, which is really great because not everybody has a great sense of fashion, or they feel they've been so far out of it for so long. They don't know how to get started in it again. They don't know what looks good on them. They need an opinion. They need guidance. They need encouragement.
Yeah. And they don't realize how much shit they're
They
carrying
need to
around
get confidence in themselves about
from their
dating.
parents.
And they got to get out of those granny underwear. I mean,
It's the granny panties.
Granny
and
panties.
the bushes that come with it. It's like, have you tamed that tiger? You got to tame that thing down.
I don't wear a lot of underwear because I'm mostly in fitness clothes,
Yeah.
and I just decided to shave everything. I just shave.
Wow.
It's just too much hassle.
It's
with
too
the,
itchy.
Yeah,
Too
to
itchy.
shave it all?
Yeah.
I find it
when it
boring.
starts to get stubbly.
I just find it easier.
Oh, that's a whole other show about the bush.
I think
We've had that discussion.
we
about
discussed that in several episodes.
Because
Ladies, refer back to episodes,
that
2,
whole
3.
trend about women letting their armpit hair grow and their bushes go free, and it's like, listen, hey, we're not in the jungle here. We're in the
tame the
city.
bush.
Yeah, take that down. It's very sweaty. Yuck.
Yeah.
Well, I do get ready for love classes. There's 6 weeks that help
Okay.
you go through all this, and other books that I'm Get Ready for Love is coming out, and Love Mechanics, of course, is my book for men. That Jim was the one that Jim read.
Ah.
Yeah. So I'm just here to help people open their hearts to love. It doesn't matter how old, but you need to get a tune up. Like it's tuning up,
It
right?
is. We're both coaches. We do the same
right.
kind of thing.
Well, I had a girlfriend who got a divorce, and she didn't know how to get back in the
Yeah.
game. And the first thing we started with was trimming the bush and getting a thong and getting out of those granny underwear. And it's
Yay!
it worked. It came up. Well, she was doing the lipstick, but I was like, what's going on downstairs?
Yeah, well, good for you guys.
I know you had kids and all, but you don't have to advertise that. You got to take care of it.
What a way to end the show with the bush.
It starts. I mean, it's all about, packaging, like you
It
said.
is. It's marketing and branding. It's feeling great about yourself and believing that love exists.
And
and find role models. This is my last advice. Find role models that have the kind of love that you have. And I believe that I always wanted a man that when women saw us, they would say, wow, I would like to have that, that kind of love. And you guys have that. And it looks like you do. Your husband is. I do too. I do. And that's what my whole goal was, is to find somebody that would represent love.
And what I love about your message is, you don't have to find Mr. Right at 20. It's not about age. It's about the right person at the right time in life. And maybe you need to do some growing before you do meet that person.
Yeah.
With nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and timing is everything too. You happen to mention that,
Timing.
Yeah.
It's all about the timing. So sometimes I have this quote, it's called, you might meet the man at the wrong, what is it?
The right man at the wrong time.
The right man at the wrong time, but then there's somebody in the meantime, or what is, it's a really great quote. I can't remember it right now. But it's actually up on my blog. It says timing is everything. Mm-hmm. You can meet the right man at the wrong time or someone in the meantime, but don't stop from because of that, right. Or you're always obsessing about that person. So there could be somebody in the meantime and you would never open your heart.
That's so true.
So a lot of people wait for people. And if somebody's in the middle of something that you don't want to be in the middle of, say, call me when you're done with that. And that's what I said to Joe that first night. I said, call me when you're done with the 3.5 women and we'll see where I'm at, but I'm not interested. And I walked away. And then 3 weeks later, he said, I got rid of all the women, and then I did the 3-month thing.
And you touched the face.
And I did the face, and I was always petting him. He goes, what are you doing? And I said, I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing. But really, it's called anchoring, and I teach it in my classes about anchoring. It's just like when you have your dog, and you go, good boy, and you pet him in a certain spot, and then he goes, oh, and he loves you. It's the same thing.
Well, men all have to be trained. That's a fact.
Well, that's a whole other show. We'll have to have that next.
We'll have to have you back on how to train your man once you get the man.
Well, that's what my mom taught me. She said, man is like dogs. You have to be trained.
All right, our next episode.
I'm pleading the fifth on that. I'm pleading the fifth. I don't want my husband to know what happened. Okay? Secret. Because he always says, I don't know what she did, but I think she put a spell on me. And I just go, oh,
16 years later, I think it's time to let the cat out of the bag.
No, I don't want him to know.
The secret of her success.
It's a mystery. You still have to keep everything a mystery. And sometimes it's hard. When you go through death, you go through life, you have to be real. And that's what my whole message is get real about love so that you can have whatever you want and design your life the way that you want.
When you've gone through things like death and all that and your relationship and you're stronger together, then you know it's right.
But it makes you look at life like tomorrow you could be gone. Don't wait for everything to be perfect.
Right.
Don't wait for your butt to be perfect. Don't wait for your house to be painted. Don't wait for your new website to be built. I kept saying, once my book is done, once this is done. I call it the once I syndrome in my book. So don't go through that. Just go for it. And life can be, your life can change in 1 minute. Who knew that when my mom died, I was going to meet the man of my dreams? I mean, she brought me home.
Right.
So thank you, Mom.
There
I love
you go. Yeah.
Thank you, Mom.
Well, Renee, thank you for sharing all of that incredible information. And everybody, please buy the book, Get Real About Love.
Let's see
and
that
then
book.
book your 90-minute consultation with the amazing love designer, Renée Piane.
Yeah, and just Renée Piane, Renee, piano. It's like piano with an E.
Yeah.
ReneePiane.com, and you can find the book everywhere. And I'm on Facebook. Connect with me and LinkedIn. And if you want a free mini consultation, I'll give it to you to see what could be blocking you and then help you. It's really, it's an investment. Like when men, you think about it, you play golf. Men play golf.
Right.
For $4,000, they join these clubs and they don't spend a couple $100 to find out what the hell's going on with their love life. Or women too. It's like it's an investment. Like you have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in yourself to get real with yourself so that you can change out whatever it is that you're doing.
Totally.
Thanks, Renee.
So, love is in the air.
We're going to have to have you back.
I'll be back. And TV and this kind of stuff is it's interesting because it touches people. All the things you're doing with women, it touches their heart to give them inspiration on whatever issues that are happening. So thank you for doing the show, and I'm happy to be here.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. You are a very fine-tuned female.
You are.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Bye, everybody.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.